Hello, everyone.
Happy Hump Day.
It's Hump Day indeed. Happy afternoon, happy morning to our friends in Australia. Hello, Ian.
Is Ian here? Oh, yay.
Yep.
Did you get your 4 hours of nap? Him and I were messaging back and forth earlier. No. Oh, man. I'm sorry. And he's still here.
Yes.
Time to sleep under your desk, Ian.
Hopefully we won't put you to sleep. Welcome to everyone who's here. Tracy, I know she says she's hello from a wary computer-eyed teacher. She says, weird world, miss being in my classroom and seeing my students, new normal, I guess. Yeah, that is true indeed, but hopefully will not be normal for too long. But man, so many people stepping up and
have you seen this thing where people are like, the teachers are going on a parade through the towns and kids are coming out and waving at their teachers?
No.
Yes. Cool. I don't know how they're organizing this, but I see lots of pictures of kind of like the teacher parade. So that's heartwarming.
Yeah.
Especially the younger kids really miss their teachers.
Yeah, it's funny. I got an email from a teacher who said how much she misses school and the irony that usually we're counting, both students and teachers this time of year, you're counting down the days till summer vacation.
Right. And spring break at least, right?
Yeah, and the idea that now we just kind of want normalcy and we want to be back in school and we want to be back with our friends and teachers and the people that mean something to us. So the rhythm. So it's very, very strange, but we thank you guys for being with us today, getting through this together with each other and with beverages of your choice.
And, you know, I'm wearing this kind of crazy hat today in honor of Whimsy Wednesday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What's with the hat?
It's not, you know, an Amelia Bedelia kind of moment, which I do feel like her most days.
Well, it was weird to me that you went to bed wearing that last night.
I had to be ready.
Something was up. And I am wearing my apron, my painting apron, after talking with Scott Ginsburg yesterday. Realized that I needed to get back in the studio. It had been too long. I've been just so busy getting, setting all this stuff up and trying to get tools out there. We're definitely in helper mode. So today was my first opportunity in a while to fill my cup up and work on a painting and trying some new things.
He's starting a new one and
doing some time-lapse videos. So if they turn out well, we'll share it, so you'll be able to see from the very beginning to the end the painting, which I've never done for a real painting like this. I've done. So
you're gonna edit them all together.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Wow,
that's the goal. Cool. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be excited to share that with you guys.
And let's put that in the league. So for the folks who are, in the actual Escape Adulthood League.
Yes. Right? So for those of you who don't know, escapeadulthood.me is what we call the Escape Adulthood League. It's a free community that is different from Facebook in that it's free from all of the ads and distractions and all of the political poison and division that you may find elsewhere. So it's a really cool.
We have different things we put up every day. So, for example, today is Whimsy Wednesday. I post something whimsical. I actually posted a picture of all the pom-poms we've been working on. We made more last night and just told a little story about that. So every day there's usually something, and it's kind of the same every week. And we invite you to post your own pictures and thoughts and comments. And there's groups and courses and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, and the Whimsy Wednesday is all about seeing whimsy, celebrating whimsy, seeing things with new eyes, which is the theme we've been harping on the last few has it been months, weeks, years since this thing started? I have no idea.
Yeah,
they're all blending together.
Right.
But this is a golden opportunity to see with new eyes.
Ian's asking for the URL for the league.
Yes. There you go. Rachel's got it.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah.
Hello, Steve-O. How's it going? Good to see you today.
You're here.
Okay, so speaking of the whole perspective thing, I wanted to share a story that I've been telling in my talks recently, and I thought it was kind of appropriate. So I'm going to pull up a piece of art to show you guys. Kick things off here. Let's see, application. Here we go. Okay, now I'm actually going to pull this up to the full screen, hopefully. Okay, so we're still on the bottom. Hopefully you can see this art. Now, if you were to look at this artwork, just isolating these giraffes. What day is it already? These goats, and they look like mountain goats, right? They look like they're in their typical environment, possibly cold, maybe mountainous, snowy. Looks like they're maybe in some snow or whatever. And it's kind of an, fairly straightforward. And if you look though at the bigger picture, you see it's not exactly maybe what you had in mind. It's a much more fantastical landscape here. And I think the metaphor here is that where we are right now feels really treacherous, frustrating, scary, uncertain, much like being on top of a mountain, like trying to hike a mountain or mountain climb, something like that. And so that's where we are right now, is this in the moment, and I don't have to explain it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But there's a value in giving ourselves, a little bit of time every day to look at the big picture and to see some of the magic. Because even though things look bleak right now, looking at the big picture of where we are in this moment of time in history, in our own lives, there are blessings right now in our everyday life that we might be missing. All right. And what comes to mind to me is dinner that we had with some speaker friends. And I'm going to close this right now so I can talk to you. I'll pull something else up in a second. But I was having dinner, and I told you about this after it happened, with some speaker friends. And it got brought up about, okay, of all the places you've ever traveled, where would you most like to return? And it started around the other side of the table, and in places like Ireland and Tuscany and Brazil started to bubble up. And I was starting to get a little bit panicked because I could only think the Quality Inn in Clearwater Beach. And I'm like, I can't share that. It's so mundane and boring and not sexy and glamorous. And then it got to me, and they're like, well, what about you, Jason? And I said, the Quality Inn at Clearwater Beach. And they all sort of turned and they said, okay, there's a story there. And there is. I thought back to the days before we were married, and we were married, but no kids. That's what I meant. No kids. Yeah. And I had a speaking engagement down in the Clearwater area, and we were we booked this hotel in Clearwater Beach, and we were checking in, and the guy behind the desk says, oh, I see we have a ocean view room available if you'd like to upgrade. And I was like, oh, well, what kind of room are we in right now? And he said, you're in the garden view room. And anyone who travels a fair amount knows the garden view room usually means air conditioning unit view, not glamorous at all. And we said, okay, well, how much does it cost to upgrade? And he said, oh, about $20. Well, we had to powwow about this because that was not in our budget. If you remember, I said we were checking into the Quality Inn at Clearwater Beach. So we were like, I don't know, like, should we do it? Maybe we could just skip lunch one day. Like, cast our cares to the wind. We said, we'll take it, sir. We'll take your ocean view room. And I remember that moment when we checked in and we saw the view over the Gulf of Mexico and the sun was setting. And it was a period of time where photographers call it magic hour. And it's the hour before sunset when the light is really golden and beautiful. And I remember taking a picture of myself and my lovely bride. And we were sitting on the bed. I'll pull this up right here. We pulled up, we were on the bed looking out at the window. I took a picture. This was technically a selfie, but this was just with an old digital camera. You can actually see the shadow of your camera. It was before smartphones.
Right.
And as I was sitting there with these speakers telling the story, and they're telling their stories, this is the picture that came in my head. And I couldn't get it out of my head. And I thought, I would like to go back there. And the reason is, at that time, it was before we had kids. We were still new at this. Our business was really young. We had a lot of debt. We were struggling. I mean, we were just trying. We didn't know if we were going to make it. We were chasing the dream, but it was a hard road, much like I think where we find ourselves right now. And I think about how many awesome things happened during those times. The opportunity for the two of us to travel together without kids, to go out to eat without having to cut up someone else's food for them. And I think about the good blessings that were a part of that. But at the time, I was so concerned and so worried about what was next. And I was worried, like, would we ever make enough to make a living at this? Would we ever make enough to be able to start a family? Would we ever make enough to get into a home? Spent so much time worrying and wishing I was somewhere else, that I think I missed or didn't appreciate where I was at the time. And so I think one of the things I learned in that situation was that sometimes we get so caught up in chasing the next moment that we forget to savor the one we're in. And I don't know if you can relate to that right now, where you're kind of feeling in a bleak situation. Things seem treacherous, things seem frustrating, and you wish you were somewhere else. You wish this would get over. You wish you could move on to the next thing and get on with your life. But the challenge and the opportunity is that there are blessings right now in your life because of this whole crazy crisis that wouldn't have been here otherwise. There's people in your life right now that may not be here a year from now. There's opportunities that you have in these days and weeks that you may never get again. What are you doing to take advantage of that? What are you doing to embrace the opportunity? And so I think the message to me that I wanted to share was to enjoy the climb. I know that seems weird to say enjoy this moment when we do wish we could get back to normal. We do worry about what's next, but in the here and now, even though things look bleak, there is magic all around us. There's opportunities all around us. So I wanted to just share that message with you. Hopefully it is encouraging to you guys today. But wanted to share that.
Yeah, and yesterday we talked with Scott about, the boredom thing.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But you posed a question that kind of takes it on a different edge.
Yeah, so in the Insider last week, the newsletter I sent out to all of our fans and followers,
if you're not
Adultitis Fighters.
Quick plug for the Sunday Insider, and raise your hand in the comments if you enjoy it, because it is one of the things we get the most feedback on, to be honest. We put a lot of stuff out there in different places just to try to meet people where they're at. But again and again and again, people are like, every Sunday I wake up and it's part of my ritual. It's part of the weekend for me to start the week fresh, is to read Jason's message and see what he's talking about this week. So that is found at escapeadulthood.com/insider. You can find it from the homepage too. But that's something that is definitely where you're going to get up-to-date information.
Yeah. So thank you everyone that's saying, Angela, love it. Mona, I look forward to it. Tracy, both of my hands are raised. That's really sweet of you guys.
Awesome.
Ian says I batch read a heap every month or two, so that's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So last week I talked about the idea of looking at things. You could look at like where we are right now as a roller coaster, where there's ups and downs, or we're hurtling off a cliff on a train. And the difference being the roller coaster ends up safe and sound, and that's really where we are, because there's a lot of amazing things happening. There's people stepping up left and right, corporations, our leaders, different medical professionals are all working together. That this virus is screwed, you guys. It's going to be over. We are going to get past this. The economy is going to get back in track. Nothing is seriously broken about the economy. Once we get past this, people will come back to work. People will just be like throwing money at things because they're just so pent up. So we will get through this. So this is really like a roller coaster where we're going to get through it. And then we're going to be like, whoa, that was amazing. I don't know if I want to go on it again immediately, but it was awesome. Right.
Right.
So I asked the question, like, what boring thing are you most looking forward to? And I got some really, just like my inbox flooded with emails of boring things. You know, the number one thing that came back was hugs.
Aww.
People wanting to hug people, their grandparents, their grandchildren.
Olaf,
people
right?
saying, I'll hug strangers in the streets.
I know,
right?
I know. You do feel like that.
So I want to share a few of them because they're pretty good. And if you have something boring that you're suddenly looking forward to doing again, put it in the comments. We love to hear that too. Someone said, I'm looking forward to sitting in a dark theater with my popcorn and a frozen Coke, watching a great comedy or an exciting thriller.
Yes.
Someone said, I'm looking forward to being able to hug my grandparents again. They are 94. This one hit home. Driving my daughter to soccer practice.
Whoa.
It's like, think of like the errand, the stupid, like,
usually looking forward to
drive them to school, got to drive them to practice, got to go to, and it's like, all of a sudden, that's a cool thing. That's a blessing, right? This one kind of touched my heart too. Babysitting grandkids. I used to get irritated at their parents as they often ask at the very last minute. Of course, we say yes, which invariably leads to us changing our own plans and accommodating theirs. Right now, it's heartbreaking to see my husband missing them so much. I hope we can all be together soon. So interesting. I got so many people talking about the library. I want to go back to the library.
Interesting. Yeah, we missed the library. In fact, Ben asked yesterday, can I put some books on hold? Because we have this app where you can, this is a constant routine. I'm like, no, because no one's there to fill your order, So that was a little reality of like, sorry, buddy,
This one's a good one. People that don't usually work at home. This woman said, I can't wait to say hello, everybody, as I walk into work. Fortunately, my team has Skype and we can all talk on the phone from the safety of our work at home setup, but I miss seeing them in person. We've all done a great job of adapting with technology to stay connected with each other. That's what this show is for. But there is something about being, face to face that is going to be really good. And this one stood out. I am supposed to be getting married on June 5th, and there's a real possibility this won't happen. So that is, heartbreaking in and of itself. You think of all the
I can't imagine that.
Plans and stuff. However, I was really uplifted. She said, the boring thing I am looking forward to is just spending time with my husband. It really doesn't matter what we're doing. And I think that's the thing. And that, to me, I think that's a big sign that they're going to have a very good marriage, because it's the party is fun, but it's everything after. And so the idea, I remember when we got married, just to hang out and do stuff all the time and be together and share a life together was the cool part, no matter what we were doing. And whether we were in our crappy apartment or checking into a Quality Inn and Clearwater Beach, whatever.
Yeah, those are cool. Let's see. I saw some people starting to put them in there. Michelle says she's looking forward to walking to work, right? Walking to work now is a short commute, I'm sure. Tracy Miller says, besides grading papers, my plan is to become a student and learn sign language. So that's awesome.
That's cool.
Let's see, touching my face without guilt. Stephen, I know I put a similar question on my Facebook today, and someone said sneezing without getting death glares.
Yeah, I was going to say, even before the whole lockdown, and you're in a coffee shop and someone coughs, you're like, what are you doing here? It's almost like a terrorist activity.
I know. It's crazy.
Cough or something like that.
Tracy says, I can't wait to dress up again for my students and staff. Okay, actually, I'm doing it from home and sending my students videos. Cool. Very I know. There's little things, right? A couple other ones, someone said spontaneous cocktails with their backyard neighbor. Those little moments that kind of just happen and you're like, hey, you want to hang out? Sure. Someone else said, their routine pizza night over the weekend. He meets up with buddies and their kids and they all get pizza. And he's like, it's just not the same without our Friday night pizza night. And then there was a really sweet one. A friend of ours, Sarah Beth, said she has a brand new niece that was born last weekend and she hasn't met her yet. So that concept of like, when will I get to meet her? You know, that heartache. The grandchildren one, there's so much heartache right now, I think, with people missing their people.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I think that's goes back to something we talked about earlier this week about what are the hidden lessons that we all have. And one of them for sure is taking stock of the boring, mundane things that we take for granted, that are really kind of the cool things of life, the stuff that you miss when it's gone. And so this is an opportunity to realize those things. I know for me as a Cubs fan, you know, the last several years since they've been good has actually been more stressful than when they weren't because I expect them to win all the time and I get all fired up and angry when they don't. And not only am I just looking forward to sitting on the couch watching a baseball game, like I miss that, but there's also the added perspective of realizing this is not that big of a deal, whether they win or they lose or whatever. So that's a little lesson I've learned along the way here. Let's see. Tracy says wine and women with coworkers, thinking of doing it through FaceTime for dressing up. I like that. Yeah,
nice.
That's cool. It's people doing cool things with the technology, with each other, trying to stay connected. Things like that. Well,
this is not necessarily boring, but I thought this was pretty cool. I wanted to mention Dan Paulsrud. He is an Adultitis Fighter and Escape Adulthood Summit alumni of several years. And he has a background as a DJ. And I saw before Wisconsin went into lockdown, so this was a couple of nights ago, they had been driving around to friends' houses and showing up on their driveway with disco lights and like strobe lights and then as big speakers. And then they would like basically start dancing at the end of people's driveways with their music. And they were calling it like driveway dance parties or something. And so they were taking videos of it and everything. So obviously that's the opposite of boring, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Dan because that is such an Adultitis Fighter thing to do, isn't it? Using your unique talent to provide so much joy. Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, do we want to bring the kids? A couple of them wanted to show something, I think.
So Lucy has been working on these socks. You want to show them?
Some of you may have noticed the tent is down. The big gone. Top tent. Was that just yesterday we finally did that? So, which was actually kind of nice because it was almost like it gave us a whole new room and freshened things up a little bit. So,
all right, what you got here, babe?
This is my sock that I've been knitting. I've been working on. So it's like two colors right now.
You can see the heel going there. It's coming along. I tell ya. It's going to be awesome.
Pretty good.
Yeah. She did mention this morning of like, it kind of stinks because then I have to make another one. Like you get so almost done, but you're like, oh, this isn't done really.
And she's going to make underwear for me after that. Yarn underwear.
Oh, Rose got something she wants to share. What'd you make?
Oh, a little drawing.
What is that?
A person.
A little person. Can you see it?
That's pretty good. Looks like it's in purple, huh? Very good.
Thanks.
Lots of stuff to pass the time here. So we talked I don't know, this week, last week, something about anchors. It's been cool to hear people talk about the routines that they've built into their lives to give a sense of normalcy, the new things. One of ours is right after we do the show, I upload it to the different channels, and then we go on a little walk, Kim and I, and then we go on a family walk, and that's been something we've been enjoying, especially with the weather getting a little bit nicer. So
Steven says that explains why the video is less intense today. Because the tent's gone.
Master punner right there. Yeah.
So punny.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, Steven, but my dad was the king, continues to be the king of puns. So whenever you throw those at me, it's very familiar and it's very heartwarming. So thank you for that extra smile.
Yep. So again, just wanted to encourage you guys today. Thank you for being with us, both those of you who are live. Again, this is every day at 3 o'clock for the foreseeable future, every weekday, I should say. We have some interesting, we had our first guest yesterday. If you didn't see yesterday's show about boredom, you might want to check that out. We had Scott Ginsberg on, and he had some really amazing stuff to share. And we've got some other cool guests that we're lining up for future episodes. So I hope they are useful to you. Please let your friends know about it if you're enjoying them, because we just want to be an encouragement to all of you in this this difficult time.
Yeah, we have a minute or two. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them down. Is that obvious to them how they do that, Jay?
I shared it in the notes. Yeah.
Okay, so ask a question if you have anything.
We should take advantage of this poll thing next time. I forgot about the polls. We're learning new things, bringing on new guests, adding in the images. So
quite a tinker project for us here.
We've got a question. So Stephen asks, how do you ask a question? Smart guy who just answered it. Did it. Yes. So you click on the ask a question button at the bottom, and that's how you do it. So yeah. All right. Don't want to take any more of your time than we need to. So we will sign off here. Any final words from you, Kimmy?
No, I think, I'm up to like 10 pom-poms. So we'll see what we get to by tomorrow. Okay, friends?
It's pom-pom.
I need more ideas of what to do with these. So like, seriously, send me a message or something. Like, okay.
Hi, how are you? All right, guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We will see you tomorrow. Right. Same bat time, same bat channel, 3 o'clock Central.